back to your point of Dingtoss, yes, they lose games in scrims, but so far they're undefeated here in HGC. Same can be said here for Diamond Skin. Maybe in scrims they've been doing really well in Towers of 2, and they feel like they have a strategy planned out perfectly to take on the Zealots. Personally, I think the major strategy that needs to be touched on is they gotta stop giving up that Hanzo.
Yeah, another thing is also that when we look at Zealots, they are not faring any better on this battleground. They also played 2 games on Towers of Doom, and they also lost both of them. So for one of the 2 teams, we're going to see the first victory here today. Now we could see a Tracer ban again. Tracer, as we said before, has risen in priority in Europe a lot around the 3rd playday. So last week, isolating last week's games, she had an 80% involvement rate in games, which was pretty impressive. So there was an increase on the 3rd playday compared to the previous ones by 39%. And that led Zealots to ban her out earlier today on our first map on Battlefield of Eternity. Now she is an option here as well. Abathur very likely to be banned out too, but the Zealots could also change things up a bit here.
They're thinking about it. They elect to take away the Genji,
who by the way was not picked nor banned on our second map.
Now they're banned once again here. And Zealots will now have a choice on what they want to pick up. Will it be the Insta Hanzo?
What could it possibly be? At this point, you would expect Hanzo to be
probably a Cassia.
The first pick Cassia.
First pick Cassia. There's no way that gets countered.
Like they pick Hanzo nearly every single time. I mean, just going through it, they deviate from it, but just going through the games that they played so far, Hanzo is by far their highest first pick. This time they change it up a little bit and go into Greymane. So already a bit of an adaptation here on their part. Let's see if Diamond Skin is reacting to it, maybe with a pick on their own. But again, now that Greymane is taken, you have to immediately consider what is going to be the follow-up by the Zealots. And the Zealots have already picked several times now on the second Tyrael. It is a great pick for them, it is a stable pick for them, and with Greymane you have even more synergy. So that's definitely something that should be on the mind of Diamond Skin. So far they've been focusing on their own drafts more than taking tools away from their opponent, but I'm pretty sure that if they don't go for Tyrael, that Zealots are going to happily pick him up in the next pick phase.
So would you go Tyrael healer here, or would you go Tyrael into a damage dealer like Hanzo? What would you like to go for?
To be honest, at this point I'm really a bit curious. Last time I was expecting them to head into a Tyrael and Greymane, and they didn't do that, and I doubted their decision, but they did extremely well with a Blaze and Malfurion setup, and they do something very similar now. They take Malfurion again, and they replace Blaze with Dehaka. So another offlaner, but this time more of a focus onto the global aspect, since of course with towers, if you run the global, you can put the pressure onto the bell towers, but you also have a chance during the triple altar phase to take an extra altar for your team. So I like it what they have here, and they seem to be willing to go up against any combination that the Zealots can throw against them. So they believe in their own strength over picking apart their opponent's draft, which is an absolute valid strategy to approach these.
Yeah, and I prefer the adjustment too of Dehaka coming in instead of the Blaze, just because of what you're able to do with the battleground and how it fills out. I feel like Blaze, if you're going to play him on this map, is actually more main warrior type of playstyle. Let him go for the hard fights around the sappers, trying to force fights when he can, but also because he can rotate between the 2 lanes and be pretty effective. Now, we do get the Hanzo and the Muradin in. Hanzo gives him the engage that we've had from the Zealots so much, but Muradin allows you to be a bit more aggressive and also take a bit more of a beating. That means that your healer can focus on both the Greymane and the Hanzo here, who will definitely need some help here and there.
Yeah, Zealots have played a fair amount of Muradin. They played him 3 times, but they have yet to win a game with him. So Muradin hasn't been a successful pick for them in the past. But as we stated before, they also have won only 6 maps out of 17 that they played in HGC 2018. So we have Tyrael up for grabs still, or as a potential ban here. And we still see them back with Hanzo. So when it comes to bans, the question for Diamond Skin could again be, do we ban out Tacita, for example? They did that on the last map. It worked for them. It's again a hero that in a double support setup with Hanzo you could run. Uther is also still out there, so if Diamond Skin elects to not take him, which I would assume with Malfurion already on the board, they could also just simply try and ban Uther out. First of all, it's a combo that Zealot likes to run with Hanzo, but on top of that you now have Greymane on the other end as well. But they go for a ban on Arthas instead, so they're apparently willing to give Uther over to Zealots if they want him.
Arthas ban. Obviously he's a good top laner, but that piques my curiosity a little bit here for Diamond Skin. Do they have something a little bit fishy they want to pull out here for the 3rd and 4th pick? Automatically you see Arthas and you think about Illidan, but
yeah.
I don't think Illidan goes well against Greymane Hanzo. But they've played Illidan.
Yeah, they played Illidan twice, so that's the one thing to really consider if they are going to... Actually, my apologies, they played Illidan once and they lost with him. But it's definitely something to think about here. We've seen Method play Illidan as well, and they played him twice. But yeah, at this point, if you ban... Yeah.
I mean, the other...
It would make sense if you ban... What's the reason to ban Arthas out if your opponent is the one running Greymane, unless you want to take an auto attacker that can really suffer at his hands, especially if there's already a main tank on the opponent's side. So it feels like they have to kind of go for it.
I mean, Cassia is another option too. I know I mentioned her as first pick earlier as a joke, but Cassia actually pretty decent against Greymane and suffers at Arthas because of the low range that she has. Easier to hit a Howling Blast. It's going to be ETC and Uther here for Diamond
Double
Skin.
support! They go for it!
They're doing it!
I mean, I was just talking about if they don't pick Uther for themselves, I doubt it, but they do. That also explains why they didn't ban him out. We haven't even talked about the second ban on Zealot's side, by the way, but it's Tracer. So as we said at the beginning of the draft, highly increased popularity through the last play day. So on this map also very strong, so banned out here. But yeah, the double support setup. So we could definitely see Cassia now coming into play.
Could see it. Well, Zealots thinking about the 4th and 5th pickup. Gonna need a little bit more ability to bully, I feel like. They wouldn't go in the double support themselves, would they? They have Hanzo. I mean, you can do Tassadar. But what would be a second support?
I mean, if they go into a double support, then they're going to run it with Tassadar. So you could still see something along the lines of Rhaegar Tassadar here, if they're planning to go for that. Then again, we've also seen them with Medivh.
Yeah.
So that's another
Medivh,
hero you could take. I mean, they played Tassadar on this map before. Zealots did. We've seen them with Lunara here as well. They're not going to go into a triple damage dealer, but there's Lucio.
Tyrael.
And we have Tyrael. So Tyrael for the shields, taking him a bit later than expected, together with Muradin. Lucio as the main healer. And I would assume that they wanted to go into Uther again. As we said before, they love to pair Hanzo with any kind of Uther setup. And since they have Greymane, it is just a logical conclusion that you go into Uther. That's why it surprised me that Diamond Skin didn't ban Uther out. But now with them picking him, it just seems that they are running that hyper carry setup. And the question just simply remains, who's the hyper carry? Are we going to see Lunara, Cassia? I guess you could run Vala, but Vala has really, really suffered.
I like Cassia here. I can see a Zul'jin. That'd be a bit of a risk going Zul'jin. There it is. Cassia comes in. Helpful against Greymane. When Muradin dives in, you're able to drop down your trait when you pick it up later on. Able to burn down the damage quickly. The blinds are helpful as well against Greymane when he comes in. Could work out.
Yeah, Cassia has been played twice in Europe and won both of the games. She's been played by Fnatic once and also one time by Method. So currently she's not really played a lot, but sits at 100% win ratio. So this is going to be the 3rd game of Cassia in Europe. So we're going to find out how well they're going to do with her.
Yeah, she's one of those heroes that are kind of niche. She has spots where she just excels really well, but then also spots where she kind of falls apart really quickly. Like if you have Mage Poke on the opposing team, you don't really want to move into a Cassia because her life bar can be shredded pretty quickly.
Yeah, she's a lot more popular in Korea. She's been played 14 times in Korea and won 8 of those 14 games. So sits a comfortable 57% win ratio, which is pretty solid for the sample size that we have there. Yeah. And A hasn't really played too much Cassia either. We've seen her 3 times in North America and twice she lost. So there's still a couple of picks where Europe has only a few games on certain heroes, but those games were successful. Stukov is a good example as well. We've talked a bit about Jaina for another example, because Jaina is a really interesting case, because if you look on Jaina, you see 20 games played in Korea, you see 19 games played in North America, and on both of the servers she has pretty decent success rate. In A she sits roughly behind 50%, in Korea she's at 65, and Europe has played her once. So yeah, meta change is definitely a big deal here, as we are headed into game number 3.
And here we go. On the left in the blue, Diamond Skin. Wolf Joe playing Malfurion, Nande and Dahaka, Dark Mach on Uther, Robodoba on ETC, and Rossmeg will be the one showcasing Cassia.
To the right side of the map, it's the Zealots winning Battlefield of Eternity but losing on Infernal Shrines. We now see Shadow Lucio, we have Mopsy on Muradin, Zomany this time on Tyrael, Chris of course on Hanzo, and ADRD on Greymane.
So we'll see if they have a chance here to actually lock down that Cassia. It will be a difficult task, but one that Zealots have to rise to. And they'll have some tools to do so. The poke from Hanzo will be great, Cocktail as well. The double healer from Diamond Skin should be able to mitigate that though, as Mopsio is focused down as a first target. He gets deleted, he couldn't even move his character.
Yeah, he gets absolutely blown to pieces here. So Muradin dying early in the game. And yeah, let's see what Diamond Skin can pull off at this point with this early lead that they have. Take a bit of map control here, maybe get a quicker rotation going and try to get a slight lead. In a 5 versus 5 brawl, losing a single hero is usually not that tragic, just simply because you can still spread out onto the lanes and soak them. But of course, it gives you some early momentum in the game itself.
It's mostly morale. It gets damage there when you lose out on a target in the beginning. You have to immediately make sure that you jump into your lanes and soak the experience, and Zealots did just that, so they should be fine. Speaking of Mopsio here, he seems to be the target as Diamond Skin. They're being a little bit fierce towards him.
I mean, as we said before, they played Muradin 3 times and lost all 3 of those games. So if then you start the game being immediately like the first blood within a few seconds, that doesn't feel too good. So let's find out if they can, I don't want to say turn this around, but if they can recover from getting, suffering that early loss. At the top lane, Tyrael is doing his best currently to contest with the Haka, and down here it's just making sure that they're not getting jumped. Shed basically anchoring for Chris here, making sure that nobody gets the drop on Hanzo. One
of the strongest things you can do on a Lucio. Make sure that you're watching the cuts that come your way, you're able to boost away. Wolf Joe is the next target here. He'll drop down a root and kite towards his teammates. Robodoba shows up to help him out. He still has a power slide there. It is power slide on top of ADRD. ADRD able to skirt on out, but Shad, maybe not so lucky, gets focused down, and Diamond Skin takes a kill.
Yeah, Diamond Skin is doing really well in this early game. With the double support that they're running here, they're super aggressive on the map. They're trying to dominate the mid and bot lane currently, and this is actually working for them. Now, we still have to talk, of course, about also the Haka that they are running here, because that's another hero that in the late game even can make a lot happen for them around the triple altar phase, and also just simply attempting to push the top lane out. So when you have a strong 4-man, as Diamond Skin does, that global becomes even more important. And Diamond Skin just wants to fight. They are already trying to invade over here, or at least have a quick look what exactly is going on. Is Zealots taking their own camp? They aren't, so they don't need to go for it and simply focus on escorting their own camps into the structures.
Yeah, they just went and checked to make sure Zealots weren't doing theirs, which allows for them to focus on the bottom, as you just mentioned. But this is a cool little power play that they're able to pull forward and make sure to push in that area, especially with the ult spawning to the very far south. Mopsio gets locked down again, chunked away. He's able to jump out of the fight and live for now, but Diamond Skin is set up and primed at the ready here to be able to work on 2 altars.
To the top left, we have a split, but down here, this is one of those situations where Diamond Skin should have the edge with the Haka. He could move in if they need to, and their strong 4-man should allow them to get that second altar, and indeed, Zealots is not even going for a fight right now. They have Tyrael still up the top, Raven was currently locked into the mid lane, and therefore the first 2 altars go over to Diamond Skin. 36% on Diamond Skin's core and 32% for Zealots. So a slight lead for Diamond Skin at the start of the game.
Dahaka loves playing with the Cassia composition. Hang on here. We see another engage. Robodoba waits for a second before he drops down the face melt, hoping that he can interrupt Mopsio's jump, but Mopsio has the patience and is able to get out. But having a Dahaka and a 4-man with Cassia, you know Cassia trades so well into many situations in the early game, so it's great as a Dahaka to be able to focus on your lane. However, not so great when you're getting double pushed in here, as Zarmi and ADRD just come up and take away some turrets.
Yeah, there's another thing that we also have to highlight quickly, and that is the build that Roskmek is running on Cassia. So this is a bit more old school what we currently have. Lately, a lot of the Cassia players have been focusing on a Q build, and instead we're now seeing Charge Strike on level 1 and then Plate of the Whale as the level 4 talent, currently on 8 stacks. So especially with the Charge Strikes on level 1 and now the Surge of Light taken on 7, this is more the old style of Cassia that we were used to see before this Q build just became so strong.
Yeah, I actually really like the Q build, but I think the main issue here is that Lucio and shields coming in from Tyrael making it a bit difficult to wear down your opponent, so they want to go for more of an all-in engage, which getting Charge Strike allows for you to open up. You're able to just shred your opponents quickly, fall open in the damage, and get a kill or 2, especially with ETC setting you up. So I don't mind the old school here. We'll see if it pays off for him.
No, I don't mind it either. I feel that Q-Build would still have been absolutely strong, because especially when you get the double hits in and then you...
Oh god, it hurts.
Yeah, Lucio's going to have a huge problem healing all of that out. But at this point, it seems like a preference play. And it works out well for them. It's just definitely noteworthy that Roskmek is doing something that is not the norm anymore in Europe. Europe way more focused onto the alternative build that we mentioned.
Speaking of Ross, Mag, you're thinking some pretty aggressive poke here from Chris, finally getting healed on up. With Shad on the backside trying to channel in, Dahaka will come in to prevent him from doing so. Power slide in, into a root, into a drag. Mopsio gets picked up.
Yeah, Mopsio just gets destroyed here. No chance for him. The Dwarf is dead again. That was a great play here. Good, layering of their CCs. And another altar taken as a result. So Zealots really starting to suffer here. 0 kills for them. 3 deaths, and they also lost another altar on the map. Diamond Skin is really dominating this early game now. And it's a very different sight from what we've seen in game number 1.
Yeah, Diamond Skin looking composed here. Now even getting a little bit aggressive onto the other top right corner. They know a Sapper will be spawning in 30 seconds. Mostly here holding the bush to make sure no one gets flanked on the bottom side, so Ross Meg can do his best to push in this lane, as he wants to get those Sappers on top of those turrets so they can get close to 10. Because Zealots have done a good job soaking at least. They are almost 10 themselves here. They've also got the turrets on top left corner, which netted them that extra experience.
Yeah, I'm really liking what I'm currently seeing from Diamond Skin. But as you said, Zealots have the lead in experience, and that might be something where they can, with 10, maybe force a play somewhere, but I really don't see a lot of options for them on the map at this point. Dahaka is taking it really easy, staying safe, especially now that, of course, vision of Zealots is lost on the map. So the Zealots are simply going for their own camp and take that a bit earlier, since they know Diamond Skin cannot contest it right now without heroic abilities, so they get that slight lead. But Roba-Doba, once they hit heroic abilities, is immediately on the way.
He runs on in, Mopsio drops the Storm Bolt. There will be the Sapper, so Zealots are able to grab them, but Diamond Skin, they're not stopping. They're chasing. They even bring Nande in.
They got Valkyrie too, so that's definitely another play you can make, especially since there's no cleanse on the side of the Zealots. So if that isolation hits and you get a target, then it's lights out.
And then you'll have HGC to go in for the layered power slide on the backside. Things looking good for Diamond Skin if they're able to get the fight, but it all comes down to that Valkyrie if it will connect. Zealots will have 2 ultras spawning, one on the top left, one on the top right, and they're going to try and hold that right side. Typically, you see the 1-for-1 trade in this situation.
There's a pretty good chance that around the Valkyrie play, you have to sacrifice Sanctification in order to save the target.
Sure.
So already we see the fight starting up here as Wolfjo gets that, attempts to channel. Shad is channeling at the right, but it should be an exchange, and it is. Mopsio again being attacked. Tyrael is already low, gets blown away. No chance for him to drop Sanctification. It got interrupted. And the chase is immediately on. Nande is seeing if he can maybe get ADR here as well. The drag does not connect. And then not close enough to get any other CC in. So ADR at least dodging the drag and therefore preventing the second kill. But Diamond Skin is just doing exceptionally well in these fights. They really coordinate much better than Zealots at this point. And the interrupt against Sanctification was absolutely crucial in this fight.
Yeah, it certainly was. And it shows just how strong also that charge strikes can be on that level 1. Tyrael taking damage even though Mopsio was the first one to be immediately focused down. Zealot's trying to force a fight here while cooldowns are down for Diamond Skin, but Roba-Doba has rotated quickly and he assists his team. Zealots just look like they're off their rocker right now as Diamond Skin are just stopping them at every front.
Yeah, Diamond Skin is just absolutely spanking the Zealots here. This is getting crazy. I mean, at this point, it's literally just them isolating a target. Whenever they see anybody at the front, it doesn't matter who it is. Preferably, of course, you get Greymane, Lucio, or Hanzo. But even if it's Muradin, they always layer their CCs exceptionally well. There's a power slide, an Uther stun, Malfurion drops the roots, and then the Haka, if need be, comes in. But at that point, usually the target is already dead thanks to Roskmek's damage output. So the way they use their stuns and CC abilities is incredibly difficult to deal with if you don't have a cleanse.
Yep.
They really exploit that.
We'll see if Zealots can get into this here. They'll be hitting 13 soon, which will make life a little bit easier for them. Mopsio has scouted this out. He comes in, finds Wolfjo on the back line. Now, there is no ice block because we're at 13, but Divine Storm does come out and buy some time for Malfurion. Here's Nande, though. He goes for a tongue and he misses. Yeah,
Malf doing what he can here, but that was a great flank from Mopsio. Really well done, getting the perfect angle against Malfurion. Mopsio once again jumping in. Stormbolt is in cooldown, though. Roba-Doba moving away here as the Zealots walk away with 1 kill.
Important kill, too. 2 ultras being up. This allows for them to maybe grab both of them. 6 more seconds until Malfurion is back. Mopsio grabs the bottom altar. He also grabs an Uther, charges straight for him. There's a Valkyrie coming out, though. It's going to be Mopsio underneath 1 turret here. No turrets at all. But still, damage from Diamond Skin being just barely enough that Shad has to use Sound Barrier.
Yeah, but Chad just saved Mopsio here. He's done a great job in the previous games, but now another big save. Mopsio would have fallen here for sure. So great Valkyrie from Rosmek too, just isolating him and forcing Mopsio into a very awkward spot, and then the sound barrier. Well done by both teams here. Pretty cool moves by individual players on both sides, so exceptionally well done.
And we're all tied up.
Yeah, Diamond Skin needs the 13, and as you said, we're tied up not only in points in the core, but also when we're looking at experience. We're very close. It's just that this kill against Malfurion was really the first one that Zealots could get, and on the back of that kill, they got 2 altars. And that has so far not happened, that we saw Malfurion so far out that he would allow that to happen. So right now, I really think that this was just a perfect opportunity for the Zealots, and they used it right away. But let's see if the Diamond Skin will allow for it to happen again, especially now with Ice Block being available in Malfurion. It's going to make it so much harder to drop him.
Yeah, they can't afford for it to happen again, though, because Zealots just took that opportunity and they ran with it quickly, being able to grab those altars. Next time, that could be a fort, could be the map being opened up. Diamond Skin circulates through the middle of the map here, setting up a fight on ADRD and crew, but they get away just in time. Altars activating in 20 seconds, the Sappers pushing in the bottom. Diamond Skin puts some necessary pressure on the map with Nande scouting out 3 in the top. Diamond Skin will put probably 1 to the bottom, just to grab that altar, and then focus on the top left.
Grounding Bolt now taken on 13, so Lightning Fury is now also slowing opponents, so trying to get even more control and more slows during all of the CC that they can drop on the target. But now we're talking about the triple altar and about Dehaka, of course, and the team fight potential once more. There's already a camp moving through the bot lane, putting a bit more pressure on. Dehaka is going to get a channel, and yep, 2 channels for 1. So Zealots are currently trading down again, and Dehaka immediately moving towards the bell tower. And if the Zealots don't react in time, that bell tower is going to fall.
Diamond Skin did some really cool masking there. They kept 5 in the top left, so Zealots thought there was going to be a 5-on-5 team fight, which meant they didn't want to overpush. And then they let Wolfjo start the channel before they revealed that Dehaka had gone bottom, making it impossible for Zealots to interrupt or even stop both altars. Here's an engage on the bottom right near the Sappers. As Uther takes some damage, Darkmox drops down the Divine Storm, catching 2. And we have a mosh pit popping in.
Yeah, there comes a quick stun. Darkmox! Darkmox survives, but ETC falls. Robodoba goes down against Tyrael's explosion. A trade and 1-for-1. Valkyrie again against Lucio, and he has no chance of survival. Very well done here. That was actually really cool for Diamond Skin because, to be honest, the fight didn't start well for them. We saw a very cool move against Muradin when they started to, first of all, get the Uther stun in, and Dehaka followed up with the drag, Malfurion with the roots. The big problem was the other 2 heroes, and that includes the damage dealer, Cassia, were busy at the top left. They were chasing a completely different target. So nobody put the damage onto Muradin, and he didn't die. And the Zealots used that opportunity to try and force and engage themselves. But the fight got a bit chaotic, but then Valkyrie, again, pushes immediately Lucio in and helps them to drop the rest here after ETC had already fallen. So, yeah, once again, and the back end of the fight, Diamond Skin with a better coordination.
Well, Zealots are about to get 16. It's about a half a level away, but if they can get that 16, great for them. Hanzo gets flawless technique. Greyman as well, spiking in damage at the same time. But there is a fight around these Sappers here. Rosbag is actually chasing forward with an isolation coming out. Valkyrie misses, but ADRD was a target.
Yeah, Hanzo got the arrow out. Oh my god, the cocktail nearly killing Rosmek here. But the Divine Storm again. Sanctification is on point though. And Dehaka falls. What could have been another kill against Mopsio ends up taking down Dehaka here. So good job by the Zealots. The Sanctification that we just saw from Zarmani was just spot on.
Spot on, and Diamond Skin finds him in a weird spot. Zealots pushing in towards the bell tower. Rosmeg trying to hold off with a few of his teammates. Stun comes out into a power slide. Same time though, Rosmeg is getting lower and lower. Muradin finally gets picked off. Rosmeg just barely alive. Robodoba as well as it continues to stay through the fight.
Unbelievable that they actually got the kills here. Darkmoor was looking for another stun and was attempting to see if he can maybe get someone else locked down, but they saved the bell tower. And they saved not only Rosmeg on Cassia, but they were also able to keep ETC alive. The double support really coming through in that situation and giving them the heals they need. So good kill again against Muradin. But this game is completely open. 16 points on each side, on the core, and on top of that, both of them with a level 16 talent now in the game.
Priority needs to be get an altar soon. For either team. Diamond Skin, if they can open the bottom side, great for them. Again, they have Dehaka, they have the global here. Zealots themselves will be able to have some control on the map too, which they need desperately against their opponents.
Yeah, one of the things that's going to be very difficult for the Zealots, I feel, to deal with now is martial law on Cassia. Cassia has already been a huge pain for them in every single fight, and now consider the amount of stuns and roots and slows that we have. Martial law should kick in every time. So now when we're having those extra 3% of the maximum health of a hero dished out against someone like Muradin, for example, that should be a huge problem here. There's so many stuns and slows around. I mean, Cassia herself has on 13, as we said before, picked the grounding bolt. And outside of that, you have Malfurion with the slows, you have Dehaka, you have the stuns of ETC and also Uther. This should be really rough if the Diamond Skin continues the aggression in these team fights. If you only have Lucio to drop the sound barrier and maybe the sanctification.
Especially considering how hard it's already been for the Muradin. Valkyrie comes out. Mopsio's kite is the back. Big arrow comes in on the back right. Gonna have a burrow at the last second for Dehaka to live. Darkmonk chases forward and he starts shredding.
ETC with a mosh pit, but can they get the kill? Yes, they do. Lucio goes down. Well done by Diamond Skin, but the fight isn't over yet. They lose ETC. It's a trade. Malfurion with a Twilight Dream, and that might be the second one as Tyrael falls. Good job on a counter kill potentially here, as Wolfjo is in trouble, but Mopsio has to move out. He's too low already. The cocktail misses, and Diamond Skin walks away with a 2-for-1 trade.
2-for-1 trade, but still even on the board. 12 to 12. They did pick off 2. Will they make an aggressive play for a bell tower? Thinking about boss for a second, but no, not worth it to grab it here. Too much of a risk.
Cassia in this fight has accumulated 12,000 damage. In this fight alone. She's currently sitting at 78,000 damage compared to Hanzo, who's at 71. The fight continues, and once again, the stuns and the kill. Muradin is down. Cassia is just completely off the rocker at this point. Roskmek has crossed the 81,000 point line already. He is aiming for the 100k in this game.
Another fight here on the top. Get an idea of what exactly happened there. Roskmek on the side, turns around and gets the damage in there. That burrow at the last second allowed for Nande to restore some health. The mosh pit hitting multiple members allowed for a little bit more time for Roskmek to step up and clear out the Lucio, and eventually, even though we had the ETC get picked off, the rest of the team was able to turn around and pick up Tyrael.
Yeah, this is see here is crazy. That Divine Storm that we have on Uther the entire time does so much work here. Of course, he could have also gone into the Divine Shield and tried to get the ETC Mosh Pit combo with a shield off, but Storm is doing so much once we have these heavy engages. And it also, of course, helps with additional interrupt potential against Tyrael's Sanctification. Diamond Skin is starting to take the map here. They take the bell tower at the perfect time at the bot lane, just as we have 2 altars about to activate. So they have taken away the retreat points of Zealots. They can only retreat into the middle. It's why Zealots are trying to fight right now, also because 20 is so close. If Zealots can win the fight at this point, that might be it. Hanzo's arrow doing work, but again, the Divine Storm coming in.
Stopping them just in time. Dehaka able to come in as well, continuing the fight here. Nande will have a drag up pretty soon, but Zealots, they want to chase, they want to fight, they need a kill.
They can't retreat. There's still a fountain for Diamond Skin. They can tap
Tongue,
and then reset.
power
They
slide,
go in.
mosh pit.
Against 2, and that has to be the team fight. Already 1 kill against Hanzo. The damage dealer is gone. Shat is on the run. Everybody's trying to escape here. Zamani is rooted into the ground, and he's gonna fall. Tyrael is dead, and so is Lucio. Mopsio is running, trying to somehow escape here, but this is gonna be a double altar, and then they can go for boss. This could be game. 5 shots fired, another 5 to follow up soon. They're down to 2 points on the core. They go for the camp instead. If they take the camp now and then move to the top, that should be game. This is a checkmate position.
That it is. Roskmek and Darkmonk even run to the top here to feint as if they look like they want to go for the boss, and bringing in a couple of members as well. So now they have a 2-pitch maneuver. They can get Dehaka pushing bottom to clear out that wave to get the sappers in, or they can go for the boss. Mopsio gets caught here with the Valkyrie. He gets picked off. No more Muradin means that Diamond Skin can move for the boss.
They go for the boss, and the bot lane is already pushing through. Dehaka cleared the wave. The shots are in. Boss doesn't even matter. This game is over as Diamond Skin claims victory. Double support combo on Towers of Doom successful for them. And Roskmek absolutely dominating on Cassia here with all the support that he got. He ended the game with 100